This episode is proudly brought to you by Newsly. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in the history of the internet, the web becomes listenable. Explore trending podcasts from over 40 countries, including SGM. Download Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description and use promo code SGM2022 for a 1-month free premium subscription. And now back to the show.
Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon podcast. My guest today, Tarik Chebib. This guy has a important title, so I need to get this right. He is the Group Chief Revenue Officer at Capital.com and Currency.com, and he has a brand new podcast called No Money But Dreams. Nailed it. Tarik, how are you?
Yeah, good intro. Now I gotta deliver.
Tarik, you have a really impressive track record career in the finance industry, especially on the brokerage side. I think there's a lot of people that want to maybe start trading, but they might not be the best traders, but they don't actually realize that there is this big opportunity to get involved in this industry in terms of a career. And that's what I wanted to sort of discuss with you today. Like, how did you get your start? I see like IG, I would say, was your first big landing place. How did that come about?
Yeah, funny how it started. I met a guy in the city in London who used to go to university with me, dropped out and started trading foreign exchange. And so I met him 2 years down the line and he had made $10 million. And I was like, yeah, how can this guy make that much money? I got to find out how this whole FX trading works. Yeah. So for like half a year on the side after my day job, I was just reading books and opening some demo accounts, trading a little bit. And I got really into this space and, just a little side hustle.
Yeah.
And then one day I was annoyed with my old job, saw IG posted a job for a German speaker. I speak German, so that's how I ended up in customer support from the very ground and worked my way up ever since.
Yeah, I mean, some of my best friends are in IG. Salah, I had him on podcast a while ago. He's also a German-speaking guy, very nice people. So basically, it's just you saw an ad and you reached out. And then where did you start in IG? Like, what was your position and how did you work your way up? How did you sort of recognize, hey, this is where I need to go in terms of this career of mine? Because at that time, because then it became a career, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was on the dealing floor in London, servicing mostly German and English-speaking clients, and that's where you really learn so much. The first 6 months, you have such a steep learning curve from problems that clients have, things that they want from the product that aren't there at the moment, the trades that they're executing, problems that are happening with when the Swiss franc devalued. There's so many different examples where there's so much learning.
You hit the nail on the head there, and it's the products that weren't there. So for me, when I go through your profile, I'm like, this guy is an entrepreneur because he's got an eye for gaps and then delivering like on what isn't there. And I guess that's your title right now is you're a revenue officer, so your job mainly is to drive revenue through new innovating products in a space that essentially is so saturated with brokers at the moment. Like, what's your philosophy behind that whole process and how you go about delivering on that, all the while keeping like the price point more or less at a place where the customer is going to be happy with it?
Yeah, I think if you are a user of your own product, you understand what you're struggling with.
Skin in the game.
You understand, hey, I would love to see this. And you see tech has moved so much over the last 10 years, and there's so much AI developments and data has moved so much. And then the brokerage space hasn't moved that much. It's still, as
Not
you
at all.
said, it's pretty much vanilla. There's thousands of brokers out there. What are you going to do that is different to attract people to trade on your platform? Right. And that's a really interesting challenge. And that's where I like to spend my time. I like to try and come up with things that really deliver value to the end customer.
Talk to me about that process. Unpack it a little bit. Where do you start? How long does it take for you to sort of get there, or do you bounce it off someone? What is that process like for you?
Yeah, so at Capital, we have a few people that are really passionate about driving the product. And whenever someone has an idea, we try to get together and try to discuss this. That's cool. One of the things which was really cool for me after having been in this space 7-8 years is that there are people trying to innovate, and that there are people looking at things from a completely different angle. And that's liberating. And when you're coming up with ideas and they're actually being discussed and then implemented, and you're seeing the change where, clients come to you and say, hey, this feature is really, really useful. Yeah, I love what you're doing there. That's really rewarding. And that's what we're striving for.
You spoke about Capital.com. I'm assuming that's the sort of vanilla brokerage, run-of-the-mill standard, but also top echelon performance-wise. Speak to me about the other one. What is Currency.com?
Yeah, Currency.com is more on the crypto side. It's tokenized assets, and you can trade a number of different cryptos leveraged with leverage or just on exchange, which is a really growing space, over the whole COVID period. There's loads of people that are interested in it, and we see a lot of room for growth.
What is it like having two companies underneath you? Instead of working like on one company, and especially those companies are so diversified. Almost, I would say, polar opposite, because you've got the traditional and then you've got this new way of thinking or doing things. How do you reconcile the two?
Yeah, the first thing that springs to mind is regulation, right? One is a really heavily regulated industry. The other one is still in its infancy and trying to find its feet. And marketing is also completely different. Whereas on Currency, there's a lot of things that we try to do that potentially go viral. And that's how you acquire customers. From, brokerage space, they usually bid on Google words to try and acquire customers. Right?
Yeah, because I picked up when we put out the teaser for this pod, the guys from Currency were like this. They just picked up on everything, retweet, like instantly. It was just there. And I recognized that's the speed at which crypto is moving. Let's get to your pod. Man, did I enjoy. It was such a nice, fresh, new approach, honest. It's called No Money But Dreams. The name seems to be resonating with a lot of people because it's something that we've all been there. You don't have money, but you have dreams. And in your first episode, you talk about the big carrot, right? So first of all, what is the big carrot? And then second, why podcasting for you?
Yeah, so No Money But Dreams, the podcast initially, or the idea behind it, is really that there is a lot of people with the mindset out there that think, whatever you have is not enough, but you have a lot of dreams and you want to get somewhere, right? Yes. It's for the people that are trying to get to the kind of the 1%. And when you talk about the bigger carrot, or the first episode that we dropped, it was really about talking from an entrepreneurship perspective and a corporate perspective. What does the bigger carrot mean? In the corporate world, you're trying to climb a ladder, right? You're trying to go up and try to chase your dream or try to improve your situation that way. In entrepreneurship, you're basically starting from scratch and you have to create that carrot yourself. And I think it was a really cool kind of discussion between me and my friend who started this podcast together to kind of get us off the ground.
One of the best segments for me is something, if I remember correctly, it's talking about saying yes to the bigger carrot. Like it's for the people that hasn't, listen to the episode and maybe want to go and check it out, like, what is saying yes to the bigger carrot?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it doesn't really matter what your situation is right now, whether you're employed and you're a mid-level kind of manager or, higher up, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is always put you out there and put more effort in than other people and say yes to opportunities and grab these opportunities, because that's how you're going to progress. And a lot of people think, I'm in this job, this is my job title, and I should be following these orders. Otherwise, people will be upset with me, or I'm not getting anything out of it right now. I never thought like this. And I try to take on as much responsibility as possible so that further down the line, it will always be helpful at some point. And you never know when.
I think that's the best advice, especially with the way the world is now and this whole great resignation going on, is just be 1% better than everyone else. Tarik, thank you so much for joining us today. If the listeners want to connect with you, where can they do that? And what is some of the plans for the pod coming up?
We've got huge plans. There's a lot of content dropping. We've already recorded another 15 episodes. We're dropping a mini series on NFTs.
Awesome.
At the beginning of next month, which a lot of people are asking about NFTs. There's a lot of hype around them. And what happened to me in crypto 2016-17, I had no real idea what was happening. And I wished there was like a mini series that I could just binge watch and get accustomed to it. So there's a lot planned for the podcast. And if you want to get in touch, best thing is just follow us on any of the channels, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. We're always active on all the socials.
And amazingly connect with Tarik on LinkedIn, because that's where I found him. Tarik, thank you so much for joining us. To our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.